21 weeks to Madiera. So I am beaming in from the Windmill pub in Upminster in London, and this is a competition update and a goal setting update for this next phase in my journey back to personal best fitness and athletics, and a bit of an injury update as well. So today was the Southern Athletics League first meet, and I came down to London to compete in the discus, hammer, 4x1 relay, pole vault, and 400 metres. So we'll run through from like worst to best in terms of performances. Not a great day at the office. Really just having to put in the hours and put in the shift, and this is a necessary part of the journey, is just doing competitions on an individual basis at each of the events prior to doing a decathlon. But I was hoping for some better results. So the most disappointing was definitely the 400 metres. I ran it in just over 59 seconds, so it was still within a minute, which would have been horrendous. It would have been more than a minute, but as an ex-sprinter, really, that was really disappointing for that to transpire. I'd only actually run a competitive 400 once before that wasn't part of a relay back in 2018 in Antrim in Northern Ireland, and that was 56.3, so right on the British Masters merit standard, and I really thought with some of the training I've been doing I'd be able to make that. Unfortunately, this ankle injury that I've picked up from the football tournament 2 weeks ago now was really there, and I really felt it in the first 100 metres, and I really wasn't running hard, so I was quite behind, and then the last 200 metres after 150 I really died. So a bit difficult on a number of levels. As an important event, 400 metres, it means I've got a lot of work to do in terms of speed endurance, and I don't have too much time to actually work on it. Secondly, it's not the best thing to leave too late. You really need to build a base of it, and I think I have built a good base of fitness, but really speed endurance something needs a bit more work, so I might have to modify my sights. But also, I wanted to go and put a mark down, and I didn't do that because of this ankle, and I don't really think I can do it next week either, so I'm probably going to just have to leave that until I run a decathlon and see where it's then at. So got the mark down, but in most of my calculations of where I was at, I was trying to go off this previous mark that I'd got a few years ago, and or the British Masters merit standard, which I thought I could get, given my performance in the 100 and 200, and able to get the Master standards there. So the jury's still out, but definitely disappointing. The next one, probably the relay. So not perhaps the same strength of relay team as last time around. There's a couple of fouls. I think I might have been implicated in one of them actually, stepping outside, not outside the changeover zone, but actually laterally outside my lane. So I stepped to the right, so I made it harder for myself, so I wasn't getting an unfair advantage. But so it all counted, and I think there's maybe other teams that had also fouled. They just overlooked it, given the fact that the differences were so big. But it wasn't a great time. I haven't seen what it was, but it wouldn't have been like the 43 seconds something that we did at the last meeting. Next, the hammer. So it was good to just get out and do the hammer. It felt quite raw, and really enjoyed that. I actually found accidentally by stepping out of the circle the wrong way. So you're supposed to exit the circle in a controlled fashion and to the back, so you can't be kind of half falling over and then just say, well, I didn't fall forward out of the circle and lose balance. That was my natural step out. You actually have to step out the back way to show that you're not getting an advantage. And I didn't realise that, and people were shouting, "Oh, this is foul." So yeah, just something that wasn't really obvious when competing in the Howler and kind of watched it on TV. I'd never noticed that. Obviously, if you deliberately step over the front of it right after, that's clearly a foul. I know that much. So that's good to know. And actually, if I'm being honest, I actually did the same thing in the discus in the first throw as well. But I got an 18 metre something throw in the hammer, and that got points for the team. And I did a bit. The discus I threw 22 metres something, so that was quite a good mark. I think I can throw further than that. Again, this is from a static stance. I'm not moving around, rotating prior to throwing it. Well, obviously I'm rotating it on the spot. Just upper body's rotating, lower body stayed the same. I threw some that were actually further than some of the people that were rotating it, so that's quite a good indicator in some ways. And people talk about what's your standing PB as an indication, but I didn't really get the technique right. So similar to some of these other technical events like the hurdles, the long jump, and the pole vault, really, I'm getting some half decent marks doing the basic technique, and I'm just building that. And last of all, the main reason really here was the pole vault. It's my tricky event. It's actually got the potential to be my favourite event, I think. When I get it right, it feels amazing. So I came in at 190, went up to 210, went to 230. I got each of those in the first time. I've done 250 or thereabouts in training. I did 3 vaults at 250, and I'll post my video cover photo for this video as a picture of me going over the 250, but unfortunately I came down on it with my shoulder at the very end, so a bit frustrating, to be honest. So it's good to move the marker up, but when I vaulted 2, I knew I could do 230, 240, and then I'm vaulting 230, 240, I know I could be up to 260, 270, so it is coming. At least our underperformances are stacking up in a good trajectory. Not sure if I'll manage to do another pole vault before my first decathlon. I can just do some more training sessions, and if there's any event I'm just going to get an extra third training session in, it would be the pole vault. Yeah, it was really good actually, because Conrad, the elite decathlete that's in the club, was there, and after one of the fields, was like, really grab hold of that top thing and allow it to swing in. Whatever he said, the cue worked really well. And the next was actually my last vault. The last vault I just really connected on, and often my hand slips down, but this time it didn't. And just for a moment I felt the raw power of my acceleration in this thing, like chings. It's powerful. Like, I can really, there's so much more potential energy there in that whole system that I can harness. So that was good. The interface with some of the other athletes was really good as well. Some of the camaraderie was good. When it came to the relay, I was actually really the one that was getting people together and trying to do a wee bit of coaching, do a bit of practice and stuff, and encouraging. So that was good to take on a bit more of that role. And yeah, it was just really good to be alongside guys like Conrad, and then there's another gent, Sammy, who's actually second ranked in the UK. He's on the cusp of 8,000 points. He's actually going to compete in Decathlete, which is it's considered to be the kind of combined events, Valhalla, Mecca. It's one of the major competitions in the world, and it's got a great atmosphere. It's only combined events, it's not a championship event for anything else, and especially for a lot of the female heptathletes. They would say they had their best marks in Gotsis, and I think they've all records from Kevin Myers also, from Gotsis as well. So that was the sort of calibre of guys that I was competing against. So that was nice. Really nice to have that sort of these guys around. So yeah, good experience, good competitive experience. Next week, hopefully, I'm trying to see if I can get onto a long jump, a javelin, and 1500 meters. If the ankle's not great, the obvious one to jump out of is the 1500. Yeah, so ankle throughout it was questionable. I really rested it up this week, didn't do much to it at all, just did runs and trainers. I did some ankle kind of mobility and stability yesterday, and this morning it was feeling really good. Did some slow warm-ups this morning. But yeah, just putting that heavy force through was a bit much. So yeah, I'm just going to see how that goes. I need to be really careful at this point, where the best might be the enemy of the good. Or if I don't rest up and really focus on rehabbing this ankle, I could end up with just a kind of chronic injury, nothing major, but just something chronic. That means I don't really train well enough, and I don't get a good training block in. So we'll talk more about that at the next update. And yeah, the last thing to say is, where should my goal be for this decathlon? It's one thing to say, all right, my goal is to just complete a decathlon, but that's not really where things are at. If that's all achieved, then that will be a great achievement. That will be good. But I'm willing to set a scoring target, in terms of the marks that I've been putting down for all but the javelin and 1500. That would have me just short 4,000 points. Yeah, and there's these kind of time converters online where you can put in your time for one distance event and it'll calculate your predicted time for another. So putting that into a decathlon calculator and then putting in the distances that I've flown in the javelin training as recent as Thursday, it's just around 4,000. So I'd consider myself well rested in it, in a good place at this point to be able to put down a 4,000 point mark in the decathlon. So my goal is for 4,500. I've touched on that before. There is a video on YouTube of a guy that's doing the decathlon, really good video, young guy in the States, and he said that for his school he needed 4,500 points to continue doing that. So I don't know if that was originally it's like a 4,000 mark, and next year he had to clearly move up, but I'm going to try and move that up within a couple of months. I know I've got more in me in the long jump, I know I've got more in me in the pole vault, I know I've got more in me in the 400 metres for sure. So yeah, and in other events I might actually drop points slightly, so I think moving up 50 points across the board is not an unreasonable goal, and that's going to be a clear stepping stone to the 5,000 point mark, which is a major milestone in some ways. So that's the goal. 4,500. I better go and write it in my diary for the written goal. 4,500 points in decathlon. And the last point on that is that I was originally planning to go to the Scottish Open on the 6th and 7th of July, but I think it's actually going to be difficult to get poles up here and get them back. So there's a combined events championship in Oxford that same weekend. Oxford being maybe an hour and a half's drive away from London, on the other side from Norwich, but I managed to make it back in the evening. Yeah, even just little things like the poles and how to move poles around and working that out with the wrap on the car and stuff. Yeah, I even just got some information on that this weekend and maybe a bit more confidence to go to combined events by myself. So that's us. We're still going for Madiera. It's going to be really interesting to see where we get to in Madiera. For many people, this is getting into the real zenith of their season. I'm still in the ascendancy. I'm hoping the zenith would be later on September, October time. Just doing so much learn how to do these events. Yeah. So a really big decision for some of these events is, yeah, maybe for the high jump or the long jump, I can say, whatever I'm doing, I can take that back a couple of steps and do a bit of a longer run up that's not really changing my rhythm. But for the discus or the javelin, am I going to move from, like at the moment I'm throwing a javelin without any run up? Am I then going to start to incorporate the run up as over the next 2 months, or is that too soon? Difficult to know. But the shot put, when I had a much longer training, before I was doing initially standings, pose, and now I'm doing a bit of sliding. So hopefully I can do that in some of the others. So Madiera, we're coming for you. This sunshine that we're getting here is a good fourth taste. And yeah, time to get my skates on, get back in the car, and the next 40 hours just rest up, rehab the ankle, get some sauna, get some cold plunges, and let the body do its thing.